This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome, everyone, to the GSMC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, as always, Jeff Malinoff, and with me is my partner in crime, Mark Souza. We have some things to talk about in the world of sports. We got our Thursday night football matchup tonight between the, let's say, talkative Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yep. As well as we're going to round out some NBA games that happened in the last 24 hours. And then we're going to, we don't have a show on Friday since we are moving locations. So, by virtue, we are doing every game for the Sunday games that are happening in the NFL, and anything else, bits and pieces we want to talk about on the last segment. Maybe about Stephen A. Smith versus Will Cain. That happened the other day. But we'll get into Thursday Night Football first. Arguably the best team in football, the New Orleans Saints, are taking on the brash, pretty confident Dallas Cowboys, if I have to say.
Yeah, I would say so. Cowboys have engaged in a war of words this week, so should be interesting to see what they do tonight.
Yes, and the Saints are on a 10-game winning streak at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they're both on winning streaks, but one's a lot more interesting than the other one.
Cowboys on a 3-game winning streak. They've taken control of the NFC East, so this win, if they could get this win, would put them in great position to make the playoffs.
Yes, absolutely. And Ezekiel Elliott is the leading rusher in the NFL with over 1,000 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. And Kamara is not that far behind him. He only has 700 yards rushing, over 700 yards rushing, and 11 touchdowns. So it kind of evens out with the touchdowns and rushing yards there.
Yeah, Kamara also does a lot of his damage in the passing game. So
absolutely. And, of course, Drew Brees versus Dak Prescott. There's no comparison. Brees has 29 touchdowns and 2 interceptions to Prescott's 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brees all the way in that matchup. But do you have an upset here with the Cowboys, or do you think the Saints are going to take this?
I think the Saints will win this game. I don't believe in Dak Prescott and that offense that can stay with the Saints. I think both teams have a good defense. So I don't see much of a difference. I know that Dallas, some people would say their defense is slightly better, but New Orleans, they lead the league in rush defense.
Yes, they do.
Their pass defense has improved greatly over the last 12 weeks of the season. You know, they're a better defense.
They are 30th in pass defense, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the most lopsided defenses. Number 1 in rushing and almost last in passing.
We have to remember, though, that teams have to throw the ball against them all the time, so they're going to give up yards. It's about the points that they give up.
But I think the main question is Ezekiel Elliott versus the rushing defense of the Saints. Who comes out on top in this one? That's the leading rusher versus the number 1 defense in the league. Rushing defense.
I think Elliott's going to have a tough time. I do, because I think the Saints are going to make Dak Prescott beat them, and they're a well-coached football team. Their rush defense is very good, and I think that they will just play man-to-man defense on the back end and say, Dak, go ahead and beat us. And I know Amari Cooper had a big game last week, but I think that they're more than comfortable putting Marshawn Lattimore on him and seeing if Dak Prescott can make throws in tight coverage and if they can, beat them that way.
The key number here for the Saints is 73.2. That's how many yards they're giving up rushing per game, which makes them number one, which is 73 yards a game for rushing. That is terrible. And that's great for them, but that's terrible for the other team if they're only rushing that many yards. And Dallas themselves are number 4 in rushing defense. They're giving up 93.6 yards per game. So, obviously, the running backs who are, we could both say are elite running backs, Kamara and Elliott. You can even put Ingram in there as a very stellar back himself, are going to have their hands full with these two defenses. So, we might see a lot of passes through the air.
Yeah, the difference is I think that a guy like Kamara, he'll be able to be out in space a little bit more because Drew Brees in that offense, they can throw the ball down the field. And I think that with Kamara...
They keep matriculating the ball down the field?
I think with Kamara, they'll find ways to isolate him. They'll find ways to get him the ball. I mean, we know, every team knows every week when they play the Saints that Kamara is a weapon, and yet they still can't stop him because the Saints are very good at exploiting matchups, getting one-on-ones. And for the Cowboys, Sean Lee out of the game again with an injury. It's going to be very hard for the rookie Vander Esch to keep up with Kamara. I know that Vander Esch is a good athlete, but we're talking about maybe the most, I don't know, agile running back in the NFL. It's going to be very difficult for him.
He may be the he has one of everything. You know what I mean? He can catch, he can do good routes, he can run the ball, he can be a power back if he needs to. Like he may be the most complete back in the league.
You could definitely argue that. I don't think even if you said someone else might be higher than him, like a Kareem Hunt or Todd Gurley, you would still put Kamara in the top 3, top 4 in that conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to look at the running back obviously does a lot more than just run the ball up the middle nowadays. It does almost everything when it comes to the offense. And Kamara is one of those guys that does that. Does everything with that offense. And Drew Brees, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL right now. I think the only argument that could be countered is Mahomes, but I think Brees is having a better year overall than Mahomes is.
Yeah, I would say that as of today, it's Brees MVP to lose. Mahomes could definitely do more, and I'm not completely writing off any other player, but I think really it's a two-player race at this juncture. The problem is, for Mahomes, is that Drew Brees has another primetime football game this week on Thursday night. They're playing the Cowboys. This is the best game for Drew Brees to follow up on his Thanksgiving performance because he's playing the team that has the biggest fan base in the country. This will be the most watched Thursday night football game of the year. And if he lights it up again, I think he can really, I already think he's ahead, but I think he can almost shut this thing down with a big performance tonight.
Yeah. And again, 10-game winning streak really shows he had a rough first game against the Buccaneers, and it wasn't even that rough. He still had a pretty solid game, but overall, Brees has just been on fire. There's no answer for him.
Yeah, and the Cowboys secondary can be beaten. The question is Dallas, when Dallas can get to the quarterback, their defense is pretty good. But the Saints are very good at running play. Yeah, not just protecting him, yes, but running plays that don't put Brees in position to get hit. They're very good with their running backs. They get the ball out quick. Drew Brees doesn't, force things, right? He doesn't force the ball down the field. If there's a play on, if there's a route that he likes, he'll throw it down the field. But if there isn't one, he has no problem taking the 5-6 yard check down every single time. And
he has guys in those checkdowns that can make those 6 yards into 30.
Exactly. And that offense is just designed that way to exploit spaces, spots in between coverages and things like that. So
it's in my mind, this is the best team in football, the Saints.
The Saints are a 7.5-point favorite on the road, which tells you something. It tells you
when
that
when you're a favorite away, but that much by at least a touchdown, that's how good your team is. I'm sorry. That's I know the Cowboys are on a 3-game winning streak. They're first in the NFC East now, but I don't think anyone in the NFC, maybe besides the Rams, are on the level of the Saints right now.
The Cowboys have been playing really good football. They really have, but at the same time, they're not playing Colt McCoy tonight. They're not playing against Marcus Mariota tonight, who, they had problem with. So They're playing a different beast, and I'm not sure that this war of words, this calling out the Saints, quote unquote, was the best idea. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely not. This is a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Risky proposition?
Yes. I wouldn't even say risky. I would say this is them putting their foot in their mouth before the game even starts. Because, like, I understand talking trash to get inside opponents' heads, but you're talking about a team with Drew Brees who lets nothing get into his head. He's one of those guys that can be so, not confident, but so calm on the field. And so you're facing him, and he's a born leader, and he's going to lead this team to any type of situation and where he's going to calm his guys out, he's going to calm his team, and he's just going to lead them to a victory. And he's done that countless times. And with this, I say that they're probably not even listening to them. The Saints, I mean.
I think they're listening. I think they're using his bulletin board material.
I would say Breeze isn't.
Yeah.
I would say the rest of the team, yeah, they're going to use that as motivation, but I would say Breeze is like more of a lens of like, just going to outplay them like I do every year.
Breeze has 29 touchdowns and 2 picks and has completed 76.4% of his passes. All of those numbers are insane. Every one of those numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Breeze is just a...
I've never even heard of a quarterback completing over 3/4 of his passes. I literally have never heard of that. At least for a game, yes, but for like 12, 13 games, like maybe it's happened before. Usually like 65 to 70 is a really good number. I've never in my life heard 76.4%.
76.4%, yeah.
Over more than like 2 or 3 games. I mean, a quarterback can get hot for a few games, but that is a ridiculous number.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
And the Saints have a good core of players, but it's not like he has 4 all-pro receivers. He has Michael Thomas. He's got, Ben Watson at tight end. That's a very humble tight end. Like, he's just another guy in the NFL. Kamara and Ingram are good, yes. But then you got, Traquan Smith on the outside. Like, he's using different players, right? So, insane. That's a great number.
That's a number that is... Like, obviously, he's a future Hall of Famer, but it's like that just puts him over the top. Like he's destined for it now. You know what I mean?
This team is averaging 37 points a game. They've scored over 30.
That's absurd.
They've scored over 30 in 5 straight games of this winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard for me to think that the Cowboys will stop them and hold them under 30. And the Cowboys, on the flip side, I mean, they're not a team that scores a lot of points. They've had games where they've put up some numbers, but we're talking about a team that averages 21 points a game. 21 compared to a team that averages 37.
Yeah, I could call that lopsided. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I'll call that lopsided.
Amari Cooper was named Offensive Player of the Week for the NFC, so his addition has been a bright spot, I will say, for the Cowboys. I think that their offense has been better since he's been on the team.
Yeah, it's I can't praise this team more.
The over-under in this game is 51.5. The NFL average is 48.
I'm gonna say that the Saints break this, but it's not gonna be like a team effort. It's not gonna be both teams. It's gonna be one team just dominating, and the other team just gets like 15 points, 14 points.
So then the Saints would need, 41?
Yeah.
Or let's see, 36 or 37 points. Okay.
Is that not? That's not even.
I think that the over is going to hit today. I would be actually pretty surprised if it's under 51 points. I would be relatively
under 51.
I would be surprised because I think the Saints are good for 35 points.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cowboys should score 20 points. I mean,
yeah.
It's like game script, right? Like if one team is scoring a lot, the other team's going to have to keep up. Maybe they will lose, but it shouldn't be like 35-6, right? It should be like 35-21 or something like that. So,
yeah,
I'm not sure. So what do you?
I see a multiple touchdown win for the Saints, though. I don't see this as competitive.
Do you think that it'll be over early though, or do you think the Cowboys will carry this game into the fourth quarter?
I see a. I think I just see the Saints through the entire game had the lead. Like I don't see them giving it up.
Okay, so like at halftime, you think that the Cowboys will be down by over double digits?
Yeah.
Any idea that this game might be a little weird tonight? Because I don't know, maybe it's Thursday night. Anything that?
Well, they played last Thursday, and he seemed fine. So I'm gonna say that they're 1 week fresh. I think it's only going to benefit them.
Okay. So what's your prediction for tonight's game?
I'm going to give a 38-14 win for the Saints.
So you think the over will hit by a half a point?
Sure.
That's why people in Vegas get paid to do what they do.
They get paid the big bucks to listen to us.
I think the Cowboys will score more points than you're giving them credit for, but I do think that it will be a similar type of game. Yeah, I could see a score. I want to say something like 40-24. Saints win. Mm-hmm. I just think that this train is rolling right now. Yes, they could win, or they could lose. Yes, they could do that. Yes, the Cowboys. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked beyond belief if the Cowboys won. I'd be surprised if the Cowboys won, but the Cowboys are playing better. They do have more of a balanced football team than people will give them credit for. Elliott could have a decent game, but I think the Saints hold him under 100 yards. Maybe he scores 1 or 2 touchdowns, but I don't think he goes off, and I think they really would need him to have a big game for them to win.
Yeah.
All right.
I honestly the Saints are such on a hot streak right now that it's so hard to say they're going to lose a game.
Would you consider the Cowboys a legitimate contender if they win this game?
I would say they'd
be on a 4-game winning streak, beating the Saints in one of them. It'd be impressive. So would you?
They would
that
end
be
a
enough
10-game winning streak, so it would be impressive. But I'm still making a question mark about him because of how close the NFC East is. So I would say question mark on that one.
The Cowboys, Redskins, and Eagles, I mean...
It depends on if they win this game, it depends on how they win it. You know what I mean?
Cowboys, Redskins, and Eagles, any one of those three could actually be ahead of the division after this week, which is crazy. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, any last thoughts on this game before we head to a break?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. We'll go to a break. When we come back, let's talk NBA for a little bit, and then we'll switch back into football later on in the show as we cover the games on Sunday. But NBA, there was some action last night. There was a trade. There was some news regarding LeBron and Luke Walton. We'll dive into it right after this.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We just talked about the Thursday Night Football matchup between the Saints and the Cowboys. Now we're moving on to the National Basketball Association. So what do we got on first for the agenda of the NBA, Mark?
Well, there was an interesting trade that happened last night. The Utah Jazz have acquired former guard Kyle Korver. He is now back with the Jazz after spending many years with them. He is back. In return, the Jazz send the Cleveland Cavaliers Alec Burks and 2 second-round draft picks. The Jazz were 29th in three-point percentage going into making this trade, so it makes sense why they would look for a tremendous three-point shooter. I know that Korver is getting a little bit higher up in age, but we know that he can shoot the ball, especially when he's open. So what do you make of this this trade right off the bat?
Well, it can only benefit the Jazz for sure. And, of course, this means Cavaliers are in full rebuild mode. This is like...
Well, I mean, yeah.
Well, this I know it was already obvious, but it was like this put them in officially rebuild mode. You know what I mean? It's like... So now this is...
Probably the first of a few moves that they're going to make.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
We expect J.R. Smith to get traded at some point or outright released.
Yeah, it's either J.R. Smith's just going to ask for a release or what, I'm not sure. But fact of the matter is the Jazz just got a big-time three-point shooter that can only help them get out of this funk that they're in right now. Because that's what they're in. They're in a funk.
And even last night, they do win. They played against Brooklyn. They won 101-91. They win the game. Donovan Mitchell had a good game, but the team, again, only shot 32% from three, which is about their average, a little bit higher. As a team, they're shooting 30%, which is super low. Really hard to win in today's NBA like that. I think this addition will help them, but I don't know if this really changes a lot. Do you think that this will change their season? They're 10-12 right now, so we expected them to be really good. Is this the type of move that will get them back on track, or do you think they still need to make more moves?
A couple more moves wouldn't hurt, obviously. I think it just got to find the right things to trade, because you traded a lot for Korver, and you traded multiple second-round picks. So what else can you think they can give up, like a first-round pick for someone to add on to that? Or do you think it's one of those things in where they're just going to try to do their best with what they have in the G League as well as what they have on the main roster, and going into this trade, they're only going to just give him the ball to shoot some threes and help Donovan Mitchell out when he comes back?
Yeah, and last night, Mitchell had a good game. Ricky Rubio went 0 for 9 shooting. 0 for 9, 0 for 5 from 3. 6 points. Rudy Gobert, 23 and 16. I think the Jazz need to make more moves. I don't know what moves there are to be made, though, to be quite honest with you, because what do they really have to trade? They don't really have anyone that they can give away that will net them somebody that can make a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And making a difference, I think you can only do so much in making an impact. Like, you just got to bend with the team any way you can. You know what I mean? You can't just say, I'm the savior of this franchise and I'm the savior of this team for this season. You just got to do what you can to help them win somewhat.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the other game on TV last night, on national TV, and that was the Portland Trailblazers and the Orlando Magic. 115-112 Portland wins. They hold on. They almost gave away this game late. It was an interesting ending with the clock. The home clock operator didn't start the clock on time, which was weird because it would have actually gave the Blazers the win. But this time the advantage went to the away team, which you hardly ever see. But they sorted it out. The Magic ran...
Scandal.
The Magic ran another play. They didn't win, but they were close. I was impressed with the Magic's performance last night because they didn't fold. They got destroyed in the third quarter against Portland, but they made it interesting late. 115-112. Damian Lillard, he had a really good game for the Portland Blazers. 41 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He only attempted 22 shots, and he had 41 points. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Anytime you break that 40-point mark, you did something right.
He set the Portland record for threes in a game. He did attempt 15, but he hit 10, so a good shooting night for Lillard.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Lillard is pretty underrated when it comes to, like, all the stars in the NBA. Like, he's always looked at behind them.
You think that's because he plays for Portland?
Possibly.
You know, like they don't get a lot of credit. They don't get a lot of national.
Not a big enough market. You mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a niche market, right? It's like in the Pacific Northwest, they're kind of like the team that people kind of forget about.
I mean, look at Cleveland. Like when LeBron's there, like I know LeBron's once in a lifetime type of player, but what I'm trying to say is, you can be such a great star and be a great player and bring attention to a whole city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he's done that. I mean, I think he is put Portland on the map. You know what I mean? But I still think he doesn't get talked about in the same breath as some of the other stars in the league.
I agree. He doesn't get enough love.
He's a really talented player.
Yeah, he's
like a gamer. You know what I mean? Like he
likes video games.
He's got that. He you know who he reminds me of? I don't think I've ever thought about this or said this before, but it just popped in my head. He has a little Kobe Bryant in him.
How so?
You know how Kobe used to take over games where it almost would be like a personal vendetta for whatever reason that night. He would just be like, you know what, like I'm the man, and I'm going to show everybody that I'm the man. And he has a little of that in him, like a little bit of that alpha male, like, you know what I'm saying? When I talk about that, I know it's kind of hard to understand.
I know what you're getting at in the terms of like
he's got a killer instinct.
He needs to prove something every single night.
Yeah, and when he decides, like, it's Lillard time, you know, like, it's one of those things.
It's Lillard time? Is that his catchphrase now?
Yeah. Lillard time.
Yeah, I can see it. It can work.
But you know how Kobe used to do that? Like, even if he wasn't having a good game or anything like that, it would just, like, he would have that killer instinct, and that's what people love Kobe for. Like, that's why he's so revered by the people that like him, is because, you know, he's quote-unquote clutch, you know, because of that. And Lillard, I think, has a little of that.
You even saying "quote unquote" about Kobe being clutch is going to enrage some people. I feel.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
you just
that's a different argument in itself, because the numbers don't provide support that Kobe is clutch, but his supporters will like go to bat, like will go hardcore to bat for it. So I'm not going to get into that little conversation today. Mm-hmm. But, anyways. You want to talk about some other games that happened last night? Sure. We had the Spurs get mollywopped by the Timberwolves. Yeah, okay. Mollywopped. You ever heard that one before?
I've never heard that one before.
128-89. How do you feel about that score? 128-89 to Minnesota. The Spurs, man, what's going on? They're so inconsistent.
I think since losing Kawhi, we kind of expected them to lose some of their, like, what's the word? Their stuff? Does that make sense?
Their juice?
Yeah. The juice. And
they had no players score over 10 points in their starting lineup last night.
Yeah. I would say that there is going to be games in the Spurs where they're going to have this, but I still think they can edge in a playoff spot. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, when he's on, he can be one of the best in the league.
DeMar DeRozan last night, I would say he was not on. 4 of 9. He took 9 shots. He made 4. He scored 10 points in 28 minutes. LaMarcus Aldridge had 10 points. Other than that, just a rough game. No starter for the Spurs, played over 28 minutes. I don't know, Jeff. I know that you think that they're still a playoff team. I just can't see it unless they make a major move.
Well, the thing is, I don't see, I hate to say this, but I don't see the Clippers hanging on to the top seed as
yeah, I agree with that.
But I don't even see them making a playoff spot.
Really?
I can see them dropping awfully quickly. They might just be on high momentum right now. There's still, 50 games to be played? Over 50. And I just see the fact that the Spurs might be a second half type of team.
Well, as of right now, the Spurs are in 12th place. And you want to know 2 teams behind them?
Sure.
Utah and Houston. So they could actually go further down, right?
Yes, but those 3 teams, I think, are just having just a bad month. Just there's some months in an NBA season where it's not going their way, and I see that kind of changing around, maybe sooner rather than later.
Which team of these 3 are you the least confident in of making the playoffs at this point? San Antonio, Utah, or Houston? Yeah. Least confident.
Least confident? You're going to think I'm crazy.
But I already do. It doesn't even matter what you say. I already do.
But I'm going to say Utah.
No, I don't think that's a terrible opinion, because Utah has not shown that they're the same team as last year. That's for sure.
They have changed. They feel different. They feel what's the word? They feel like they're on a hangover. You know.
Mm-hmm. So they need a Pedialyte.
Yeah, sure. Let's go there.
Yeah, Pedialyte and Advil.
You use Pedialyte for hangover?
Oh yeah. If you haven't, it'll change your life.
I might have to. Yeah.
Way better than Gatorade. Way better than water. It has the electrolytes.
Powerade usually my go-to.
Look, go get some Pedialyte, and then you mix it with water, and I'll tell you what, man, it'll change your life next time you're hurting. Trust on this.
You know, someone told me one time, it's like, just drink another beer when you wake up, you'll feel better. I'm like, that is
that is true, because it'll take the edge off a little bit, for sure.
I always think that when I heard that, I'm like, that is the exact opposite of what you want to do, no?
Well, it'll numb the pain a little bit.
I guess, but
because the hangover is basically your body recovering to the dehydration, right? So it'll numb a little bit. You should still hydrate other than beer.
How did we get to this point? Oh, right, I started this.
It's 2018. I wonder this every single day, to be honest with you. How do we get to this point? Speaking of teams that are wondering how they got to this point, the Cavaliers, 83 points last night. They lose to the Thunder, 100-83. How did the Cavaliers get to this point?
Do we really need to explain that?
One word, I think. LeBron?
Yeah. Well, what happened in 2011 when he left? This exact thing.
Yeah. Well, it happened again. So, Cavaliers fall to 4-16.
Well, we all said if he leaves Cleveland, this is what's going to happen. No.
Oh yeah.
Everyone and their mother saw this. People that don't even watch
they
basketball.
Lost Kyrie and LeBron in back-to-back years. That's not fun.
That might be the worst 2-year span for a franchise in basketball history. Losing 2 of franchise players, that's got to burn.
Russell Westbrook tied Jason Kidd on the all-time triple-doubles list.
What rank is he then?
I'm not sure. I just know that he tied him.
Well,
we can find out, though. Milwaukee won 116-113 over the Bulls. Milwaukee's now 15-6. They're right behind Toronto.
Okay. Right behind Toronto. That's pretty good for them.
Greek Freak, 36 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we kind of saw that already. Like, we knew this team was right behind them in general, but the fact of the matter is they are still, like, Toronto's still probably the best team in the NBA by a good margin. And
yeah, I'd say so.
They really need to, like, if the Bucks want to take over Toronto, they need to step it up because they still have they're still behind them in my mind a couple of steps.
Another game on national TV last night, the Sixers, they win 117-91 over the Knicks. This game was never close. The Sixers dropped 41 in the first quarter. They were already winning by 14 after one, winning by 20 at the break. Just another easy win for the Sixers. The Sixers have turned it around, Jeff. They started off real slow. They're now 15-8. Do you think that they can now be in the conversation with the Bucks and the Raptors after the trade?
The
trade has really helped.
The trade has helped, true. But, I think I got to say that it's going to be hard to get to that top spot because the Eastern Conference especially is so in a one, like, there's very little amount of teams that can compete with the Raptors and the Bucks, of course. But, I just don't see it. I don't see them overtaking the Raptors.
The Clippers beat Phoenix 115-99. Phoenix is 4-17. They now have the worst record in the NBA. The Clippers, they continue to stay atop the West. They actually play tonight on national TV on TNT against the Sacramento Kings. But you were just saying you don't think the Clippers can sustain this?
No.
Not at all.
Well, not at all. It's not at all strong, but I say it happening over time that they'll gradually decline. It won't happen like a rock in a water. It'll gradually happen.
Yeah, Tobias Harris has been awesome for the Clippers this year. I think he's going to be a prized possession in free agency. I really, really do. You know, don't be shocked if Tobias Harris gets 3 or 4 max deal offers. So that team is playing super good right now. I don't really agree with you. I think that the Clippers, I don't think they're going to be the number 1 team in the West. I think that's the Warriors. But as of right now, I don't see any reason why they can't finish in the playoffs, especially in the top half of the West, because they've just been playing very good basketball. And I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think that they're just on some hot start right now. Although they are playing very well, their numbers are very good. They just have a nice little well-rounded team that I think a lot of people overlooked. So we'll see what happens. But before we go into break, I got to talk to you about the LeBron James scenarios that we've been hearing. We've been hearing rumors. It's been floating around yesterday that he's not really listening to Luke Walton. He's not really running the plays that are called.
Wait, you're saying that he doesn't listen to the coaches and he does his own plays?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
What do you think about this? Do you think
it's the same thing he did in Cleveland?
Yeah. The coach is kind of just somebody has to be called the coach, I guess, right?
Yeah, but it's honestly LeBron is a player coach. He's a coach and a player at the same time.
He's a player coach, player GM.
He's a player front office. You know, remember in the movie Semi-Pro?
Mm-hmm.
He's owner, player, coach, general manager, Jackie Moon, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. It's like, I don't think that it's not a shocking thing that came out. We all kind of knew that anyways, right? So, anyways, Dallas beat the Rockets 128-108. Luka Doncic, man, is he good. He
is good.
A couple big highlights last night.
The best player to ever wear number 77.
He scored 20 points last night on 11 shots, 6 rebounds. Rockets fall to 9-11. So their struggles are still there. They haven't turned the corner like I thought maybe they had, but we'll see where they go from here. The Mavericks are 10-9. Are you surprised?
Yes, actually. I didn't expect them to even be competing in the West because we all kind of figured Dirk is at the end of his career. It might be his last year. Who knows? And them competing is kind of shocking to me because last year they did anything but compete.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we should take a break. And then when we come back, let's preview Week 13 of the NFL. There's a lot of games on Sunday. I believe there is now 13 games that we need to go through.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, so we'll do that when we return.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
What's up, all you beautiful, attractive people? I know you're all attractive. Even if someone says no, I believe you're attractive. Right, Mark? Everyone's attractive.
You're beautiful, no matter what they say, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to sing any further. Anyways, why don't we talk about the NFL Week 13 and the games that are coming up on Sunday? There's a lot of football. Everybody's past the bye week now, so that's out of the way, which means full slates from here on out. Let's start off in Atlanta. It's a big game, especially for the Ravens. I think the Falcons are done at 4-7, but they do host the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson. What do you see happening in this game? What's your prediction?
I want to hear your words first. I'm usually the first one to go. It's your turn.
Yeah. Okay. I think that this will be. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Ravens. I know that their defense is good. I wonder if Lamar Jackson struggles in this game just because.
Is it like due for one? You're thinking?
Well, I mean, he hasn't been exposed yet, and I still think he's a limited passer. The Falcons are a terrible defense, so it does allow the idea that maybe he'll just have another good game. I think it'll be an ugly game. I do see the Ravens pulling this out in a very ugly manner. I'll say that they win this game by a score of 23-20.
Okay. So, do you see it when you say ugly? Do you say like a lot of turnovers?
Yeah, a lot of defense, a lot of miscues. Mm-hmm.
You know what? Give me a... let's go... Okay, how about this? Let's go 27-24 Atlanta.
Okay. Atlanta is a 1-point favorite, by the way, so
That's
they are
kind
the
of shocking to me. But I'm saying this because Atlanta usually comes back, has these weird offensive showings that are just like, where did this come from? Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be one of them.
All right, so let's go to Cincinnati, where Andy Dalton's on IR. Jeff Driscoll will get the start for the Cincinnati Bengals. Jeff Driscoll, former Florida quarterback.
Who?
He will be taking over the offense. AJ Green is supposed to be back, too. Sounds like he will play. The Broncos are coming off that big win against the Steelers. And you know what? The Broncos are not dead yet. They're 5-6. Both teams, in fact, are 5-6. So, Jeff, go ahead.
What were the Browns' record like 5 weeks ago? Wasn't it 5-1 or 5-2?
Who?
The Bengals.
I thought you said the Browns.
I said the Bengals.
The Bengals did start off very well, and then they plummeted, yes. Now Andy Dalton's hurt.
Yeah. So, give me the Broncos on this because backup quarterback versus Case Keenum. I know that's basically two backup quarterbacks facing off. Yeah, I went there. What are you going to do about it?
What score do you have?
You know what? Give me a 31-20 victory for the Denver Broncos. And it's not Case Keenum that's going to go off. It's going to be Philip Lindsay that goes
31-20?
Yeah. And
yeah,
I see Philip Lindsay scoring at least 3 touchdowns.
I know the Broncos are on the road, but I do like them in this game. That pass rush by Denver, I think, will get to Driscoll. I think we'll see some mistakes. And you know, the Bengals have just been a sinking ship for a while now. The Broncos, this is a game they have to have. I know it's on the road. And I wouldn't trust Keenum against most quarterbacks, but I trust him against going head-to-head against Jeff Driscoll. So Broncos win this game. I think we'll see a score of 27-13. All right, let's move on. We have the Los Angeles Rams, 10-1. They travel to Detroit, Ford Field. They'll take on the Lions, who are at 4-7. What do you think will happen in this game?
4-7.
Detroit at home against the Rams.
Is this a question?
Yes. Give me your prediction.
Okay, fine. Give me 38-14 Rams.
38-14. Yeah.
I think I gave that for the other game, but this one feels like it's more understanding.
Rams, they're not losing this game. Detroit is a team in shambles right now. Rams are looking to maintain pace with the Saints, hopefully get a first-round bye, plus home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So I see the Rams. I don't even think it'll be 38. I think it'll be more than that. I want to say 41-20 Rams win. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
The Arizona Cardinals are 2-9. They will face Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field. The Packers are a 14-point favorite. Do you think the Packers win, or do you think Arizona pulls an upset here?
I mean, would it really be an upset against this Packers team that's
yes,
a shadow of its former self?
They're a 14-point underdog. It would be a major upset, yes.
To me, it wouldn't be, because...
Really?
The Packers are a shadow of their former selves, man.
So, you don't think... What do you think? Okay, so who do you think's going to win?
Give me the Cardinals.
You have the Cardinals winning.
And it's going to be a very bad game.
What's the score?
19-17.
Also, the last year the Cardinals were good. Anyways. Anyways. No, sorry.
19-25, but granted.
I am absolutely floored that you picked the Cardinals here. I feel like
we gotta go with some not obvious picks. Sometimes.
So you're taking Josh Rosen to go, and his merry band of brothers are going to go into Lambeau and win. Okay, it's bold. All right, I got the Packers winning, and I don't think it'll be necessarily all that close. The Cardinals, I mean, come on. They won one road game. It was against 49ers. They've won 2 games. They both have been against the 49ers. Like, we don't even know if they can beat another NFL football team, let alone an Aaron Rodgers team. So I'm taking the Packers in an easy,
we can't see them beating
win.
an NFL team. We can't see them winning another game this season. Is that what you're saying?
They might not. They don't play the Niners again unless they have a third Niners game on the schedule.
They've only beaten one team in the NFL. This is true.
And they lost to the Raiders. Like, come on. So, Packers win 34-13. I like that score.
You see a domination.
Josh Rosen's going to struggle. He's going to get...
You're giving the Packers too much credit.
The Packers defense is decent, though. They're not a bad football team. They just lose games in weird ways. Like, they have maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, arguably. So, Packers are winning this game. Anyways, let's move on.
I would say the most talented quarterback of all time, but I think to be the greatest, you need to have success.
Well, regardless, he's more talented, successful, and better than Josh Rosen. So, I'll go there.
Probably better looking, too.
He might be.
I mean, what would happen?
Bills at 4-7. They travel south, where it's going to be a lot warmer than in Buffalo, and they're going to face the Miami Dolphins, who are 5-6. Miami needs to win this game. Do you think Miami wins this game? They are a 4-point favorite against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, because Buffalo is Buffalo, but they are the number 1 passing defense in the league, which doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. Give me. I'm having a mental breakdown.
So you got the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the score? Come on. We got to go.
Okay, 17-10.
17-10 Dolphins. Okay.
Don't rush me.
I think you'll be surprised, but I'm taking the Bills in an upset here. Dolphins, they're a decent team. I get it. But I think the Bills, their win against Jacksonville last week, I think will give them confidence. And I like that pass defense by Buffalo. I like their defense in general. I think we're seeing an ugly game here, but the Bills will win. I got a score of 26-24. I think they win on a last-second field goal. So, all right, let's move on. The Chicago Bears are 8-3. They will travel upstate to New York to face the Giants, 3-8. Chicago's 4.5-point favorite. What do you see happening in this game?
Give me Chicago. I mean, they've been looking like I know they don't not number 1 in either passing or rushing or even in total defense, but their defense is something to behold. And I think the Giants are not. And I don't think Saquon Barkley is going to be able to beat Khalil Mack.
Yeah, and Trubisky's expected to play. It would be surprising if he didn't play. What'd you say your score was?
Give me kind of a low-scoring game, but give me a 20-13 victory for the Chicago Bears.
20-13. I like the Bears as well. Their defense is just too good. I mean, the Giants have some weapons, but you mentioned Khalil Mack, that secondary. And the Bears' offense, they could win in a multitude of ways. So I like the Bears winning this game. They're favored by 4.5. I think that they do that. I think they win 27-20. Although I think the Giants have been playing a little bit better recently. I think they're looking more and more like an average NFL football team than maybe the poor team that started off the season. But yeah, I like the Bears. So let's move to a NFC South battle. Carolina 6-5. They will travel again to Florida to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are at 4-7. The Buccaneers coming off a win. The Panthers coming off another loss. They've lost 3 in a row. What do you see happening in this game? Or would you like me to go first?
I'll go with this one.
Okay.
With how poorly Carolina's been playing, and it just feels like that Cam Newton's been off lately, hasn't it, in these losing streak. Give me Jameis Winston in the Bucks.
Jameis Winston and the Bucks. Okay. What do you like the score to be?
You know what? Give me 28. Give me 28-17.
28-17. You like Jameis Winston and the Bucks. So you think 17 points is all that Bucks defense will allow to a Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey offense?
Well,
huh?
Cam Newton is questionable.
Oh, he's playing. He's questionable every week.
I know, but still.
Okay. I like Carolina to win, but I do think this will be a fun game. I think there will be a lot of fantasy football points out there. So if you're playing, play all these players because we have two defenses, especially pass defenses, that are very
bad,
very forgiving, I guess you could say. So Carolina wins.
Just say bad.
I like Carolina to win 38-31 on the road. All right, so let's move on. The Indianapolis Colts and Andrew Luck, they will travel to Florida again. There's 3 games in Florida this week, which is nice because it's
like
warmer there.
It's like there are 3 teams in Florida.
It's just warmer there, so I bet these teams are like, okay, if we're going to play a road game in Florida, we might as well do it in December. Yeah, so the Colts will go down to play Jacksonville. Jacksonville, of course, will be starting Cody Kessler and not Blake Bortles. They did fire their offensive coordinator. No Leonard Fournette. For the Colts, they have no Jack Doyle. He's on IR. So what do you see happening here?
Gosh, this just looks in favor of the team playing Jacksonville, does it not? Like they're playing a backup quarterback. They lost their starting running back. Mm-hmm. I know they have Carlos Hyde, who is a starting running back in the NFL. Like he's a capable starting running back. Mm-hmm. But give me the Colts, man. The Colts been on a winning streak. Andrew Luck looks like he's on a new life.
He looks almost MVP worthy, right? I mean,
absolutely.
In a different year.
Absolutely. And I would give him comeback player of the year hands down, though.
Yeah, he's been great.
Marlon Mack has been playing extremely well in the running back game. T.Y. Hilton is on another level. He's usually he's playing great. And
what's the score you think?
Give me a 30-17 win for Indianapolis.
30-17. Okay, so I like the Colts. Jacksonville, their defense is strong, but Andrew Luck played well against them the first time they played it this year. And you mentioned it. I mean, backup quarterback, new offensive coordinator, new running back. I mean, Jacksonville, I don't see how they play this game and not make some mistakes, some crucial mistakes. So with that being said, we know how the NFL is really prevalent on turnovers. Like if you win the turnover battle, you'll win the game a lot of the time, like a big majority of the time. And I see Andrew Luck being so good at not turning the football over, and Jacksonville turns the ball over too many times this game. I like the Colts.
He did go to Stanford. He is intelligent.
I like the Colts to win this game 27-17 on the road. All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have a couple more games to go. We actually have 5 more games to go through, Jeff, so let's take a quick break. We'll do
5 more. Oh, I can't wait.
We'll fire them off right after this.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, all you lovely people, to the last segment of the podcast, the sports podcast. Mm-hmm. And we'll tell you what other podcasts to watch after we're finished up talking about these games, these last 5 games we got. So list them off, my friend.
So this game is interesting. I think you might have a tough time debating this in your head. The Browns, 4-6-1. They will go to Texas to play Houston, who is on a 8-game winning streak, but we know that the Browns are playing a lot better. Houston is favored by 5 points at this moment.
It's not your average Browns team, that's for sure.
All right, so do you think Baker Mayfield and the Browns will go get an upset, or do you think that Deshaun Watson will get his 9th straight win?
Give me the Browns with an upset.
You like the Browns?
I like the Browns.
Okay.
And I believe that I'm the only person that's ever said that on this podcast.
No, I like the Browns too, but I don't know if I like them in this game.
Picked them to win a game.
All right, what do you think the score will be?
You know what? Give me... I'm going to say this is a 1-point game. Give me 23-24. Or 24-23 Browns.
24-23. You know what? This is a tough game to call. I like the Texans in this game, but I don't know if they win by more than 5 points. I like them to win this game. I think their defense will do enough to frustrate Baker Mayfield. I don't know if he's ready for J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney, but I like the Texans to win this game 27-24. Should be a close game, though. All right, let's jump into the New York Jets. They will travel to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans are a touchdown favorite. The Jets are at 3-8. They're facing Mariota and the Titans, who seem to be on struggle street at this moment in time. What do you see happening in this game? Who do you like?
That's a tough one. I feel like this game's kind of even, but
Darnold is questionable. We don't know if he's going to play.
But both of them have been playing pretty sloppy. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'll just go with the Titans on this one.
Okay, so you like the Titans to win this game. Give me a score.
Give me a 20-17 victory.
20-17. Okay, yeah. It's hard to tell with the Jets. I know that they just played.
The Jets have lost their last 5 games.
They played the Patriots tough, I thought. It's hard to say without knowing who the quarterback will be, but I could see the Jets winning this game. I think that would be a killer to this season for the Titans. Man, this is tough. I'm going to go Jets.
I'll make this season extremely disappointing because they were looked at to be even better than they were last year, and like how the opportunity to be an elite team, to be a playoff team.
I'm going to say Jets win ugly game, ugly score, 25-23. All right, so Chiefs 9-2. They'll travel to the West Coast and face the Oakland Raiders, who are at 2-9. The Chiefs are the biggest favorite of the week at 15 points.
Shocking, no one.
Chiefs or Raiders? Who do you got?
Give me Chiefs.
Give me the score.
All right, how about this one? 42-3.
42-3, huh? You think the Raiders will score 3 points, huh?
Who said I picked the Raiders to get 3? Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
That's a big one. That's a 39-point win. I think the Chiefs win. I think they win big too. I don't know. Who's going to stop the Chiefs in this game? Like, who's going to stop Mahomes? Who's going to stop Hill?
Legitimately no one.
Who's going to stop Kareem Hunt? I think it's a blowout. I like it to be a big score too. Give me 45-17. Chiefs.
Wow, you give them 17 points.
Garbage time points.
Okay.
Derek Carr gets maybe a touchdown, maybe 2 late touchdowns, makes it look somewhat respectable. Anyways, we got 2 games left, Jeff. Let's go. Vikings. This is the Fox game of the week at 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern time. The Minnesota Vikings will travel to New England to face the Patriots, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Rob Gronkowski. What do you think will happen in this game?
Well, both teams have been, let's be honest, they've both been pretty disappointing this season. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Well, I mean, the Patriots are 8-3, so
but
the Vikings, it's been ugly for them.
But this is the thing; they're a quiet 8-3.
All right, so who do you see winning?
Give me the Patriots by a score of, let's go 24-21.
Low, kind of low scoring. 24-21. Okay. I like the Vikings in this game. I know that might be surprising, but I do like that offense against the Patriots defense. Cook, Diggs, Thielen, even Kirk Cousins. I think the Patriots are a little bit overrated, to be honest with you. I think Rob Gronkowski can be neutralized in this game. It's a tough game for New England. I just don't think they match up very well, so I like the Vikings to win this game. I'll say by a score of 30-27, a big road win for them. So last game, Jeff, let's do it quick. It's Sunday Night Football. It's the Los Angeles Chargers at 8-3. They're traveling to Pittsburgh at 7-3-1. This is a big game. This could say a lot about the AFC playoff race. Who do you like in this game and why?
For this Sunday night game,
Steelers are favored by a field goal.
give me the Chargers. They're on a winning. They're hot right now. I think you're forgetting one game though.
Yeah, there is one more game, and I'll get to that in a second. So go ahead.
But give me the Chargers in this one. I think they're just the better overall team than the Steelers are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. James Conner's been kind of lacking since Le'Veon officially said no. And so give me the Chargers on this one. Give me a 31-28 victory.
31-28. Okay. I do like what the Chargers are doing, but Melvin Gordon will not be playing in this game, and I think that's important. Eckler is a good player. Rivers is having a really good season, but I know that people are down on Pittsburgh. They just lost. But, man, I think they bounce back. You know how they're a different team at home. They really are. So, being at home in this game, I do think it'll be a fun, exciting game. You said 31-28 Chargers. I say 31-28 Steelers. So, I think we're right there. And I did miss a game. You are correct because it is a game that not very many people care about. And what game is that, Jeff?
Well, actually, it has some kind of story to it. It's the 49ers and the Seahawks. It's Richard Sherman's return
You're right.
to Seattle.
You're right. There is some relevance here.
Yeah, but it's mainly just the Richard Sherman going to Seattle. That's the story of this whole game.
So who do you like?
Give me Seattle because it's at home, and I think the 49ers are in tank mode. Like they say they're not publicly, but I think that they won't purposely lose, but I think they're looking to get the number one. They're going to keep that number one draft choice. So give me the Seahawks on this one.
Seahawks are hot right now, right?
Yeah, relatively.
What do you
so.
say the score will be?
Give me 28-14.
Yeah, I like Seattle. I mean, they're playing really well. They're at home. The 49ers struggle on the road. They struggle in Seattle.
They struggle at home.
I don't even remember the last time they won in Seattle, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, like over 5 or 6 years for sure. I mean, Nick Mullins, he had a tough game last week. That was against an easier Tampa Bay defense. Seattle poses a lot more problems for them. Crowd noise, better team. I mean, Russell Wilson should keep the pressure on the Niners defense. The secondary is lacking right now. So Seattle wins this game. I don't even think it'll be close. I think it'll be a blowout, 34-14. All right, so that'll wrap it up. Anything else you want to talk about before we call it a day?
We're not going to be here tomorrow.
What about Kawhi and New Balance? You hear about that agreement?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I didn't, yeah, it's like usually you think of Nike or Jordan or something like that, not New Balance for a player of that caliber.
Yeah, so Kawhi Leonard is with New Balance. He signs a deal. Interesting. I want to see what these shoes are going to look like. You think they'll be like the traditional dad shoes that New Balance is known for? Like the white ones, you know?
I would wear those.
The white with the blue N on the side.
You know who wears those? My dad does.
Yeah. Dads.
Yeah.
That's who wears them.
But yeah, we will, just another reminder, we will not be here tomorrow due to us moving locations.
So we'll be here Monday.
Yes. And thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you tune in on Monday for our football, fantasy football, and again, our sports podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else you want to add?
No. I think that's it. We'll see you guys Monday.
All right. Bye, everybody.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.